Hey there, everyone. It's Matt from the Literary Gamers, along with Jenn. And today we are going to be taking a look at Disney Sorcerer's Arena, the Epic Alliances core set today. This is published by the OP and designed by
Sean Fletcher. It's a game for either 2 or 4 players, about 35-minute playing time, ages 13 and up.
As a disclaimer, we have not played the app for this game. I know there is one. I think I heard it's a lot like, that Star Wars one I played. Like the turn-based combat system. I played that. I played a DC one. But I've not played Sorcerer's Arena.
I think you also don't have to have played the app to appreciate this game. There's also a cat on the table. So that's just going to be a thing that's happening. We are not going to explain how to play this game. This game teaches you how to play as you're going through the 4 chapters. So if you're looking to learn how to play, there's other great videos out there I'm sure you can watch, and they will do a great job.
Now, what I will say about how to play the game is that if you are brand new to the hobby, start with chapter 1. If you are kind of have a little bit of experience in the hobby, I think it's okay to say you can go right to chapter 4.
Yes. We'll talk about
the chapters?
The possibly not.
Okay. But if you are well versed in head-to-head arena style gaming, just automatically just go right to chapter 4.
Yeah.
Or else you may not like the game. Right?
Yeah, this is a 2-player head-to-head or team head-to-head arena-style battle game, so that may not be for you automatically. But let's see. So in this game, we have...
let's go. We have Sorcerer Mickey. We have Aladdin. Maleficent. Demona from Gargoyles. We have Ariel. Dr. Facilier, Gaston, and Sully. And there are 2 expansions already announced and on the way, which includes Moana, Stitch, and Davy Jones. And then you have the Horned King, Mother Gothel, and... oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yep. So while Matt's
I'm looking it up.
Googling that, I will say that it is nice to see a combination of Pixar and traditional Disney, kind of traditional Disney animation characters. It's also really great to see a combination of heroes and villains in this game. In terms of villains, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's pretty evenly matched.
Jack Skellington is the last one.
Oh no, some people might be upset. Not Jack Skellington. So that is also appealing for some folks.
Mm-hmm.
We heard about this game because the designer is from the town that I work in, and I was like, well, that's really cool. So it's always great to support local folks who are doing great things. So what would you like to say about this game, Matt?
It's very approachable. I think that there are a lot of these arena head-to-head games out on the market. But the nice thing with this one is, as far as its IP goes, is people have been loving Villainous. Mm-hmm. People really do love Villainous. And it has such a following and so many expansions already. But what we don't really have too much of is are the heroes in these Disney games. I know there are other Disney games out there, and you can play the heroes there. I don't want to start talking about sidekicks because we'll be here all day. But the game sidekicks, not the actual sidekicks. But it was nice to have heroes for once.
I would say so, and kind of a good combination of... I think Sully was probably one of the most exciting ones, and then Sorcerer Mickey too. I mean, how often do you see either of those characters?
Sorcerer Mickey's got some awesome abilities too.
Yeah, Sorcerer Mickey might have been my favorite that we played as. Yeah, I agree. Completely approachable. I feel like many people have a favorite Disney character or Disney villain or Pixar, same. But kind of a good way to catch people who are not necessarily super hardcore gamers. Maybe you're more casual gamers or folks who haven't played a game in a long time. So I taught this at the library. I taught it 4 times. And every time that I taught it as a team-based game. And it was kind of a combination of the quote-unquote more hardcore gamers and somewhat more casual folks. That's great. I mean, clearly the game and the IP is drawing in a great mix of people. But I will say that I having not played it as a team player game, I'm not sure how I felt about it as a team playing.
You would have
game.
more experience on that than me.
Just from how I observed. Now, of course, this is at a library situation, and we have people who don't necessarily know each other, and they're playing teams together. So they wouldn't necessarily have the same kind of rapport that you and I would have. So our only experience physically playing the game was at 2 players.
And we played, as recommended in the book, the chapters, because we knew we wanted to review all of it. So let's talk about chapter 1. Any thoughts on chapter 1?
You are only able to play a couple of the characters in kind of a pre-described...
Someone's chewing the iPad, so we have to move him away.
In a pre-described kind of method, and that's fine. You're starting off with, not special abilities, special powers, and you're not able to do as many things as you are in chapter 4 because you're building up to that.
It's a very basic game in chapter 1, but I see the point of it at the same time. So I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, this is an IP that's going to draw on people that have never played designer games before. So we can't just throw them into the fire. They need to be kind of, slowly integrated into the mechanics of the game.
So say chapter 1 is really great for playing with kids.
There's that too.
So the ages 13 and up on here is maybe for the text comprehension, but if you kind of take that away and you're helping your child play the cards just with boosters and things like that, that would probably be great. The object of the game, we should say, is to knock out your opponents.
Get 20 victory points.
And get victory points along the way. There's victory point hexes that you can also get. So you're going to get most of your points from knocking your opponent's characters out. But yes, broadly it's 20 victory points, at least in chapters.
In chapter 1 it was only 12 because you only had 2 characters. And then after that it was all 20. So chapter 1 introduces the 2 characters. Chapter 2 shows you how it's like with 3. And there wasn't much difference. You're still only basically using your decks of cards to play. Chapter 3 is when you finally get those hero cards, which give you a special ability. And then on chapter 4, it shows you how to upgrade those hero cards to have a secondary ability too. So they get more and more powerful as the game goes on. So those are kind of a brief description of the chapters. So like I said, if you are a well-rounded gamer and have played a lot of these arena head-to-heads, just go straight to chapter 4. I think that'll be fine.
I'd say so. We also did draft the characters in chapters 3 and 4, which is probably recommended. When I taught it at the library, I taught it where I just randomly dealt out the characters.
They do recommend heroes versus villains, but at the end of the rule book, I'm going to check. I think it does say you can just draft them. You keep talking.
Some characters we liked more than others. And some of their abilities were better than others. In many of the games that you and I played, and then in almost every single game that I taught at the library, like Demona got knocked out first. Almost every time.
She flies.
She
can get to parts that people are like, oh, I'm going to make sure you're knocked out. Yeah, there is a draft option.
Yeah. So she had good stuff, but she was taken down pretty quickly. Aladdin wasn't my favorite. I don't think you loved Aladdin either. He could move 3 instead of 2 like every other character. Ariel was your healer. Gaston and Sully.
She annoyed me. Because every time I would do damage to somebody, you'd come around with Ariel and be like, heal 3!
Yeah. Gaston and Sully were kind of your bruisers, your tanks.
Though Sully had... it seemed like Sully was more powerful because you also have a little indicator on the top of the hero cards and how many cards you can have in hand. And Sully gets 2, and Gaston only gets 1. Now, Gaston's cards are more powerful, but it does limit your hand size.
Yeah, and Sully kind of wants to be around his allies, like he wants to be with his friends, so that's somewhat thematic. Dr. Facilier, by and large, was maybe the hardest for people to get going, and the hardest I found to get going.
So for our Magic friends out there, he's your control deck.
Yeah, he needs a lot. He's got some spells. You have to be using kind of your status tokens. And his health wasn't super high, so he was easier to kind of knock out as well.
You want him attacking from afar.
Yeah. And who did we not talk about?
Maleficent. Maleficent's basic. Kind of a mix between, attacking and spellcasting. We didn't talk... Did we talk about Sorcerer Mickey?
No, the thing with Maleficent, though, she has the highest actual attack card in her deck.
Oh, when she's the dragon?
When she's in dragon form, she can attack for 6. Sorcerer Mickey may have some combination of that, but you have to work up to it.
So with the dragon one, she has a range of 3, and she completely heals. And then all the damage that was healed gets hurled at somebody else. And that can be, whether or not someone wins or loses the game, that attack alone.
Yeah, her dragon fire would kind of worked in like straight lines, so you could take out a bunch of people. Sorcerer Mickey.
Sorcerer Mickey. He's got his army of magic brooms. My goodness. Sometimes he's just throwing the brooms at everybody. Or they're upping his range. Or they're upping the attack value of the card. Everyone was just so unique.
I agree. The gameplay itself is very easy. I mean, you really don't have that much to do in terms of options. Either essentially move, or essentially, and that's broader than that, attack, or do some other kind of card play. When you get to the 4th chapter, you can work on upping your skills and then upgrading your hero card as well. But the options are very easy. It's kind of the skill and strategy of moving around the board. So what did you think about this overall?
I like it. I think I already know that the OP is looking to continue supporting it, which is great. And it's got like a big enough box to keep this going. Though I will say that once that first expansion is made available, or when I can get it, the insert in here is being thrown out because it only holds the decks for the 8 within the box.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
So I think it's a really neat system. I like that, and this is just as a side note because we're kind of in these times right now. It's cost effective. It's not minis. It's plastic standees.
Oh, we didn't talk about those yet. You want to take them out or show them?
Yeah. They're like, what you call them? Translucent?
Yeah, they're like translucent acrylic standees, and I'm pretty much digging those. I did not love taking the sticky film off. That was
what do we have here.
That was a chore. But they're full color. They're double-sided, which is pretty great. I'll try to... Yeah.
Yeah. The nice thing, too, is when you have minis, especially with, like, Disney properties, it's so easy to mess that up. And someone's going to be like, the face doesn't look right, or the detail could have been greater. With this, your detail is there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that makes it a more cost-effective game. It's,
yeah.
Cards, some cardboard pieces, and then a couple of acrylic pieces. So,
which also works well with its IP, because you're going to have a lot of Disney fans, and who've never played a board game. Their idea of board games is spending $20 for a copy of Risk in a big box store, and they're going to see this, and they're going to, if it was minis and it was like $80,
right?
Maybe $80, maybe $60, then they probably would have shied away from it.
Yeah, you're bringing in a whole new crowd of people, and maybe the crowd of people who are more familiar with the app. Or are maybe just like your mom, and they're big, huge Disney fans, and they're like, oh, Sorcerer Mickey, which is something your mom would say and do.
Yeah.
She'd hold it up, Sorcerer Mickey. So I agree. And then the fact that they're color too.
Yep.
You don't have to be a miniature painter or a painter to paint them. They come already done. So that's nice. Adds a little more premium, upgraded quality to the game.
And the only complaint I have is that the little plastic dials that have the health on it, I wish you could spin them while holding them down, but you really do have to pick it up and move it around. A very small complaint. But, and because every time I do it, I'm like, wait, where was I? Was I at 7 health, or was I at 8 health with this character, and you're hitting me for 3 of them? But that's a very small criticism on this, is I wish that I could hold them down and click it, kind of like a hero clicks thing.
Oh yeah, someone at Library Game Day had said that too, that if they had done a hero click system, that would have been a lot.
But
so yes, this is an asymmetrical game, which I think for some people could be too much. What I had said earlier was about jumping to Chapter 4. I think if you're not used to playing this type of game, even if you're a seasoned gamer and this is maybe a new style of gaming for you, I would probably still start with Chapter 1. So
even then, if you finish playing Chapter 1 and you're like, I really don't like this, I would highly suggest you still move forward. Get all the way to Chapter 4 and then say whether or not you like it.
Yeah. That's where the game for me really started to come together, and interesting seeing the combinations of characters, how they worked with each other and played with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we enjoyed this.
Yeah. Big recommendation.
Excellent. Thank you to the OP for sending a copy of this. Not only to me, I should say, I did a big ask and asked them if they could send me a copy for my library as well, since Sean is from the library I work at, so there's now a copy in his hometown library. So they were very generous to do that. That's all for this review, friends.
It's Sorcerer's Arena, Epic Alliance's core set. And I'm looking forward to covering the rest of the stuff that's coming out for this.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
We'll catch you next time.